I'm Karen Bystad. I'm an artist. I am a curator. I just moved to from Los Angeles to Miami about a year and a half ago, actually a year and 3 months ago. And I recently met my beautiful co-host.
Thank you. My name is Lucy Clarkson DeMeo. I'm a former model, TV host, and a real estate agent here in Miami. And I met Karen, I was drawn to her, and then we decided to do the podcast here on the Beach Channel.
So here we are. And I think today we decided to talk about health, wellness, and beauty.
Yes, and how they all go together. And, you know, I've been on some very interesting diets throughout my life, but I know that you mentioned when you overcame cancer, and you can tell me all about that, how you changed your diet and got rid of it, basically, which was amazing.
Yes. Well, I was diagnosed with stage 3.5 rectal colon cancer in the beginning of 2020.
Right.
And definitely one of the things that I did immediately was stop sugar.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I literally cut it out. I mean, I didn't do pasta, I didn't do bread, I didn't do alcohol. I also stopped coffee.
All of it. It's funny because when I have sugar, usually it's kind of like the artificial stuff. I look like I'm 9 months pregnant. I can go from having abs to looking 9 months pregnant. In fact, I feel pregnant right now, look. It's obviously because I've been eating the wrong stuff. It's so interesting how your body reacts to things.
It does.
Yeah.
You know, I just, as a good habit my whole life, have been doing intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Before I knew what intermittent fasting was.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's the new fad, as they say. I've tried it. I do. But you see, I work out a lot. So for me, if I fast, then it's tough because I start to feel dizzy. And I usually typically work out super early in the morning.
You know, Lucy, it's really just, sorry to interrupt you, my love.
No,
but
it's okay.
It's what I said to you was that I was doing it naturally. It wasn't something that I thought of. But basically, I love to eat and I eat whatever I want, but I don't eat often. And that's just the habit that I have. And so I think
I have to say something. When I first met you, I thought, there's no way she eats. There's no way that you eat. And then I can remember you eating in front of me in Brickell City Centre, the biggest cake. And you didn't even offer me a bite at all. I'm like, how is that possible that she does that? But then you said to me, well, I don't eat that all the time. And that's the thing. With looking good and
that was the lemon meringue.
It was, and I was like,
Casa Tua. That was so delicious. Oh, I'm sorry, my love.
I'm kidding.
But now you know you can always ask me, and I will give it to you. I'm so sorry.
No, don't be. But you know, even talking like vegan, vegetarian. I've been vegetarian. I couldn't be vegan. I have to say, most vegans that I see, they look like they're almost about to die. I'm sorry, but they do. They look grey. They look unhealthy. A lot of I just saw a TV show recently, you know, where they're basically eating processed foods. Like one person was living on chips because it's potato chips. I mean, that's not healthy. And also to be a proper vegan, it's bloody expensive. Have you seen how expensive the food is?
I'm not a vegan. I mean, definitely while I had cancer, and what I decided to warrior through it. So I did chemo. I did 4 months of chemo, 6 weeks of radiation.
Wow.
I also did, so it was 1 week chemo, 1 week off. And on the weeks off, I did vitamin C drips.
Right.
So the vitamin C drips helped me. It was during COVID. They helped me not get COVID.
Yeah.
But basically, and then I just ate a lot of salad with apple and goat's cheese. I made it delicious. And my skin started looking amazing.
Amazing,
People were like, you don't look like you have cancer.
No. See, I'm lucky because I've never had bad skin. Even if I've gone through, you know, weeks of maybe drinking too much or, you know, eating too much processed stuff, I've always had good skin. With me, it affects my moods. I can see the difference. And sorry, my dog's just licking my toe, which is very odd. It's very sexual though.
Well, you're lucky.
So weird.
You're lucky. You have gorgeous skin.
Thank you.
And, you know, you must be genetically blessed. And
I mean, it is in the genes as well. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people that eat healthy. They do everything by the book. And yet they age, you know, they age, more than what they should at their age, and it's just, it's genetics combined with a lot of things. But for me, exercise.
I don't know if I agree with that, Lucy.
You don't?
No, I don't. I think that if you eat well and you really eat well and you really stick to it, not just fads or saying that you do, because a lot of people say they're eating well, but they're not. They're eating junk on the side, or you know what I mean? They're not being honest.
Yeah.
If you, like, my rule is I never eat any processed food.
Yeah.
So I'm one of those people who looks at labels. So if there's anything more than 4 ingredients in something, I will not buy it.
It's funny that you said that, because I just had a colonic, and I've always had colonics because colonic irrigations, and I went to one this particular time that was just so weird. Instead of the tube being attached, you just saw everything, and I've never seen so much crap come out of somebody. And I was like, there's no way
You mean that somebody's you?
Yeah, that somebody was me. And I literally said, you know what, I'm not going to eat anything processed. And since then, I haven't, and I've been eating really healthy. But sometimes I'll drive past like McDonald's and just want to have like a Big Mac.
No, disgusting.
And I know, but it's just occasionally I just fancy it.
But Lucy, I had rectal colon cancer, stage 3.5,
which is a very, very, must have been horrendously scary.
Well, I just decided to warrior through it.
Yeah.
But
you didn't have a choice.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I did have a choice. I had a choice to be scared and give in, or I had a choice to react the way I did.
But that's
and
not you. That's not queendom. That's not Karen that I know, right. Of course.
And everyone said, we know you're going to get through this because we know your personality.
Yeah.
And I also had a lot of discipline. A lot of people, I know people with cancer, they haven't given up drinking. They're still drinking. I didn't touch alcohol. I decided I am going to heal myself.
Heal that way, yeah.
I am going,
even just, not even just talking about like food and what we put into our system. I'm actually talking about even things like facial creams and being able to spend. A lot of people can't afford to spend, for expensive creams for their faces. I typically spend. I'm like medium with what I spend on my face. No, do not ruin the podcast. Right now. N-O. What do you use on your skin?
Olive oil.
Do you really?
Yes, and I use it on my body. I try not to put chemicals either on my face.
Like proper olive oil? Like
proper olive oil. I just use it as a moisturizer. I put it on my skin.
Oh, I might try that.
You know what I mean? I massage my face. I put it in my hair.
Wow.
I use it as a lubricant sometimes.
Woo! You see, I've got to be careful because I have hair extensions. If I put oil in, they'll probably slip out and I'll be bald. I'm like, no, I have to keep it just, proper. But
no, but I think food is the number one beauty secret.
It is.
Number 2 is moving your body.
Yeah.
You've got to get some form of exercise.
Yeah.
I do yoga, sculpt yoga once a week. I walk a lot. I'm not sedentary whatsoever. I move my body.
Yeah. It's funny because I started working out, doing something different recently. I go to like a circuit and I was sprinting, and I literally, when I sat on the toilet, I could not get back up with my knees. And my mum's like, no, Lucy, if you see runners, they usually are very, very frail as they get older, and they've got the pads on their knees. So now I'm like walking on an incline, and I feel amazing. But you're definitely right. Moving your body is definitely the key to staying young and healthy and looking good.
Yeah. It's funny. I was never into running. I swim. So now that I'm in beautiful Florida,
yes,
and with this incredible weather, I've gone back to swimming, and luckily I have a pool in my building, and I do laps, and then I go into the steam room. And that's the other thing is, moisturizing.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is I've started biohacking. I don't know if you've heard of that.
When you say biohacking,
I need to take you.
You told me about it, and I'm like, I'm embarrassed to say that I don't know what it is,
okay.
But what is it?
So I'll educate you, my love, because I wasn't sure what it was, but
okay.
I knew what it was, but I didn't know the term biohacking, so don't feel badly.
Okay.
But biohacking is basically when you affect your mitochondria, which is the cells in your body, the way the cells function.
Right. Okay.
And through things like cryo. Cryo is when you go into a very, like almost a freezer. You go into a freezer and you stand there.
Yeah.
For
I wonder if that
for
would be
3
good,
minutes.
would be good for me, because I had just recovered from shingles, which is crazy because I'm healthy, but then I'm stressed all the time. I mean, I have a lot of things in my life that I get stressed, and I had shingles and it was pretty bad. I was in hospital. I've got like a whole rash on my back.
Yeah, no, you showed me, and you look gorgeous, even in your shingles.
Well,
You sent me photographs, and you're like this, and I'm like, God, even with shingles, the woman looked beautiful.
Said, they're like, you have shingles. I was like, there's no way I have. And when the
but I heard
it's
very, very painful.
It's very painful because it affects the nervous system. So, you know, you're wanting to scratch, which I didn't do, thankfully. But I kind of was a warrior. I mean, I was still working out.
Well, I want to recommend a couple things, a couple supplements, and that's the other thing that I want to talk about. You know, because so I did battle my cancer, and I can kind of go into that story.
Yeah.
But I started to really become aware of things that are wonderful for you, and one of the things is sea moss.
Yeah,
sea moss
you
gel.
introduced me to sea moss.
Yes, so sea moss gel gives you 98 of the 102 million minerals that you need in your body in a food. And so
I got it from the local market, but you said the gel's better. Whatever.
No, you got the gel. Yeah, you showed me two things, capsules and a gel, and definitely do the gel.
Yeah, but I'm not. It kind of makes me want to vomit when I take it out of the fridge. I'm like, oh, I don't know. There's just something weird about it.
Well, I would just, you know, but what you could do is you could put it in a shake.
In like, yeah, or like a smoothie.
Like a smoothie. So why don't you just try that?
Yeah,
but I don't. I just take the tablespoon and just eat it because I just think, oh, this is like so good for my body.
Yeah.
I just, you know, I'm eating this like beautiful supplement and it's helping my cells alive and young. And
but you know, a lot of people say if you eat the right things and you do, you know, like you said, you don't need supplements and all these things.
That's right.
I tend to disagree with certain things. I mean, my grandma looked fabulous. I mean, she was tap dancing at 88. And I used to ask her what was the secret. And she just said, dating a younger man, having great sex, and eating proper food.
Oh my God.
And I was like,
I need to go. I need to get that first thing going.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
But the eating proper food, and I also, my mother's 90. She looks amazing. Her body is beautiful still.
Wow.
She doesn't look a day over 65.
No. Does she eat red meat? I mean, this is the thing.
She does. But she cooks for herself, and she cooks. That's a thing, which I actually don't do a lot of. But
yeah.
I do prepare my own food, and I like simple food and I like delicious food, but she just cooks meat, fish, and she mixes it with vegetables. So, you know, she comes from a different era, and I think she's been feeding herself very well, and that's part of her. And she doesn't smoke, and she doesn't drink a lot. She's drank wine, you know, throughout her life.
Yeah. I think a little bit of wine doesn't hurt, especially red, because it has like antioxidants in there. And if you drink, I mean, I guess you don't drink red wine. The way you're looking at me, you're like, no.
You know, I had red wine the other day. It just, I like it, but it just doesn't agree with me. The only thing I can drink is tequila.
Yeah.
And with lemon, and I sip it. So I'll just do one. It's actually apparently the most healthy alcohol out there. It's the cleanest one, you know. But the thing is, the thing about drinking is that you can't have those drinks that mix with sugar.
Yeah.
It's the sugar that kills it.
Do you know what I find interesting now, especially in Miami? You know, they say that the thick looking women, they say the thick ones that are having these BBLs and they're having all this fake stuff put into their bodies and stuff, they're kind of giving like a fake, you know, to all these young people out there. That's not healthy. That's not healthy. You see them going out eating, drinking, and they're having all this surgery done.
Right.
And by the time they hit our age,
right,
I can't even imagine what they're going to look like. I mean, it's scary. It really is.
And you're in your early 40s, and I'm in my 50s.
Yeah.
Approaching late 50s.
And we literally rock. We do.
So I got some good advice from a Swedish guy when I was 18 years old. I was an intern at a fashion photographer studio, and he told me that I had nice breasts. And he said, You have great breasts, and if you want to keep them,
Sleep in a bra.
no.
Oh.
He said, do this.
I can't do that. Mine are fake.
Okay, so basically,
I feel like they're gonna pop out.
I have been doing this my whole life. It has kept my breasts up.
That's amazing. I never thought of that.
By the way, all our men out there who are watching who have the man boobs, that would work too. So it's basically getting the pecs together. Do you see? So you have to feel it.
I can't do it. Like I said, I've got massive implants in. No, I've got implants.
Because it's the muscles here.
I've got implants. Then I've got this funny thing that
it's not going to affect here. It's here.
I can't do it. I'm not even gonna try.
Well, I'll show you later. But anyway, this is, sometimes it's the little things in life. So can you imagine? I've been doing this for like 40 years. And it's worked.
But it definitely has worked. But even exercise for the face. They say like face yoga and keeping everything.
Yes, and I actually downloaded an app and I do those facial exercises and I just put oil on, and
I love that.
A lot of it is getting rid of the lymph nodes and the swelling, and I do notice a difference when I do that.
Yeah.
There's so many
And you don't wear a lot of makeup.
I barely wear any makeup.
You don't.
I don't wear mascara at all.
I don't think you need it. That's your look. That's how, I can't imagine you with mascara.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, mascara irritated me, and I never got into the habit of wearing it. But I must be one of the only women on the planet.
It's true. But also as well, they say, to actually smell. I know this is going like deep into more of like the sex, but to smell and taste good, people always recommend to like have pineapple and watermelon and all of these things, because if you think about it, it's internal with like probiotics. Because a lot of women, and we're talking about health, suffer with, problems down there all the time. They're always at the gynecologist, and you can change that with your diet. I mean, I used to suffer when I was younger.
I have tips.
Oh, tell me.
So first of all, the best deodorant, and again, this is unisex for all of us watching. The best deodorant is baking soda, hands down.
But what do you
Lucy, do? Listen, I just buy baking soda. I put a little in my hand. I wet it, and I go like this. I'm telling you, you don't sweat. You never smell. It's unbelievable. That's all you need to do.
Okay.
And then also for UTIs.
Yes. Which are very common.
Because they are common, and because I had rectal colon cancer, I sometimes suffer from that. I just take boric acid and I put it in a gel capsule and I just put it inside me and it gets rid of it.
Really? Wow.
If it's a minor, if it's a urine infection, if it's a sexual UTI, you will have to go to your gynecologist.
Of course,
and get antibiotics.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
But, so I try to go as natural as possible.
Yeah.
And I think that's
what I've started to notice though on me. I don't know whether it's because I've been exposed to sun in Miami. I'm starting to see like little fine lines on my chest. So I don't have lines on my face. And my mum said, I always told you that you used to always. Is that your phone, Karen, that you forgot to switch off again?
It's not. Let's ignore it.
And like the fine lines, and it's like, what could I have done differently, or can I kind of correct it without having to have anything like mega done?
I have fine lines here, and I think it's just I was in the sun a lot. I used to do tanning beds. I'm amazed that my skin looks as good as it does.
Can you remember the tanning beds that used to go over your bed? You just used to pull it over that you could have at the house, or was that just in England?
I didn't have that. No,
but I used frightening what we put ourselves through.
I lived in New York, and I was a club kid, and I thought, I'm going to look so much healthier if I have a tan, and I'd go in those tanning beds. Do not do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it, okay? It's really terrible for the skin. But anyway, I'm very much into biohacking. So biohacking, speaking of that, and also getting back to your shingles and things that can help.
Yeah.
So biohacking, there's a place called Healthspan in Brickell that I go to.
Right.
And they have the red light. So it's infrared light, and it's wonderful. It helps with your just so many different things.
I have the small one. I have the small infrared.
Yeah,
that you do for the face.
Yeah, that's great for the face, but it's great for the whole body.
Yeah.
You know, but it's also great for your well-being. There's
and
also,
they say coconut oil as well, especially a lot of people say to brush your teeth with coconut oil.
I mean, coconut oil, first of all, when I had cancer, my second round of chemo was the only one that was very bad.
Yeah.
Like, I literally thought, I can't do it. It was everything horrible that you'd heard of.
Yeah, I can't. I mean,
because I had a port, and you know, they were literally giving me like very high doses of chemo specific to rectal colon cancer.
Right.
I don't think that people out there realize that depending on your cancer, you get different medicine. But anyway, I just had a very horrible reaction, and I thought, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
And someone recommended that I do good protein, and coconut oil was one of them. Good. So I was eating coconut oil in spoons, but coconut oil is fantastic as a moisturizer as well.
Yeah, it's funny because everyone that I've spoken to that have suffered with cancer and so on, they always cut out red meat, and then they say everything changes. And then it's funny because my body always craves red meat, especially when it's like my time of the month. That's when I need to eat red meat. And I literally crave it like a vampire.
Well, Lucy, I agree with you. I did cut out red meat while I had cancer.
Yeah.
I had no meat. But I did have bone broth.
Yeah.
But now I eat like a hamburger once a week, or...
You do that?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think it's good to eat meat
it is
once
good
in
to
a while,
eat.
as long as it's, far organic.
Yeah. But I went on a fatty diet like a couple of like months ago. My parents were horrified that I'd lost all this weight. But everything's back to healthy, and I think what we're doing is good.
Well, you look gorgeous.
Thank
Whatever
you.
you're doing, you're doing it right.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed our conversation, and that we were able to give you some tips about some of the things that Lucy and I do to look the way we look. What do you think, Lucy?
I think so too. Yeah.
And we're happy to be on the Beach Channel.
We're very, very happy to be here.